Alright, jumping straight into it. I'm in my Team Fortress 2 map. This is my first iteration of the map going into Hammer Editor, and we're currently on the lower level of the map, uh, referring to the diagram, of course. Here's a tiny drop. This will eventually go into a water surface, which I designed for pyros to use with the Neon Annihilator weapon, which is pretty decent on maps like 2 Foot, so I thought it could be fun. This is a very linear area. There's no tunnel going under the map yet, and it comes up here to the control point, and it loops back round onto red side. Everything's grey right now, but I will change that soon. So there's something I want to iterate already, is a tunnel going under the point. This middle area that we're looking at now, this is way too open, and I think actually the capture point has the opposite issue, where it's too cramped. Speaking of too cramped, we've got the spawn here, also way too cramped, and we'll talk about how I plan to fix that in a bit. The open area in the middle, I think I can fix that by adding a wall and maybe some more terrain. Now we're in the rafters. Now, immediately leaving spawn from the rafters, you can see straight down across to the enemy spawn. I think this could be a pretty big problem. A lot of the intended sightlines from the rafters don't work because the holes in the walls are either too low or just not big enough. That's another big thing to change. From the top of the rafters here, you can see into the sniper's nest. This is unintentional, and I'm going to add a wall above the doorways onto site. I think I'll also add a roof eventually, because I suspect in my next iteration that this map will continue to be very soldier biased. We're going to switch to sniper now and talk a bit about the sight lines a little bit more. The respawn time is a bit high. That is something I will change, I promise. Okay, so you got this ramp at the bottom of spawn. I think if I move this against the wall, like flush against the wall, instead of just weirdly in the middle of sight, that will give the bottom and middle floor more room. And immediately leaving spawn on the middle of the map, you can see straight into Sniper's Nest, and pretty close to where their spawn is. That big red box is the red spawn. This isn't very exciting, and I think the raised area in the middle of the map, which is similar to the lakeside capture point, needs to be raised higher up. That will reduce the sightlines for snipers and ambassador spies, what have you, and it will make it slightly more interesting for people playing classes like scouts or demo men, or even soldiers, so they won't just go into the rafters every time. And that is all the notes I've got for this iteration of the map. We've got a few things that I want to change, and I'm going to get on that soon enough, as well as hopefully add some water, because I'm curious as to how that actually works in Hammer. But until then, alright, so since last time I have iterated somewhat. I made some more notes. Immediately you can see moving that ramp in spawn really made it feel a bit more open, and we'll see that a bit later in the video. This eye line from the rafters is a lot bigger. It's way easier to see now. I haven't changed anything else about the rafters yet though. Alright, so back into mid, you can see this raised area is a lot more raised. It goes over the bridge as well. I thought that could be pretty good for Force of Nature Scout, or possibly a spy if he can manage to parkour his way up there. Also, as you can see, pretty fun for demos to shoot their pipes over. And potentially grenade launch themselves, although I'm not going to try that on the video, as you can see. This area is still pretty open, but you can't fall off the map on the left side. Right side, you still can. This underneath area here, I've added the tunnel that goes underneath the point. There'll be a med pack down here eventually as well. And there's a little gap in the ceiling of the tunnel, which, as you've seen, demo can shoot pipes over as well. A lot of demo considerations on this version of the map.